Ramadan, the time of spiritual reflection and worship, a time of patience, humility, self-discipline, and submissiveness to God. During the holy month, Radio Sultanate of Oman 90.4 FM takes you on a journey from spiritual reflection and enlightenment to family entertainment. Join us all day and all night long here on the Nation Station. Life is a journey, and through this journey we come across all challenges. These challenges makes us better human beings. We live for the pleasure of serving others and feeling the guidance of the Creator. Join us and explore the opportunities to overcome your difficulties this Ramadan here on the Nation Station.
You lift me up high, you spread my wings and fly me to the sky. I feel so alive, it's like my soul thrives in your light. But how I wish you'd be here with me all year around. Ramadan, 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 ya Habib.
Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. In the name of Allah, most gracious, most merciful. All praise be to Allah, the Lord of the heavens and the earth, and peace and blessings be upon our beloved messenger Muhammad sallallahu alayhi wa sallam. Dear brothers and sisters, Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. From me, Hatim Al Abdilsalam, and my dear brother, engineer Muhammad Farooq.
Assalamu alaikum.
Muhammad. How are you?
Wa alaikum assalam. Wonderful. How
it's
about
nice
you?
to have you back on the show.
Thank you. My pleasure, as usual.
And we've had very constructive feedback from many of our listeners out there. They really like your topics and the way you structure your notes and ideas.
Our topics. Don't
So-
put the blame on me. And I'm just kidding. No, we really appreciate that. I went through the comments and I appreciate every single one of them, and we'll try to incorporate them in our episodes moving forward.
And today we also have a very important topic. It's very technical and needs a lot of details. So we'll try our level best to cover as much as possible.
Inshallah.
And we will not forget to leave the opportunity to our listeners to call us and share their thoughts on the topic as well, because it is important.
Exactly.
So we'd like at the beginning to remind our listeners that our numbers are 24602058, 24602058, and the topic of today is Materialism The Illusion.
Correct.
So Muhammad, why is it important that we talk about materialism, and why did we choose this particular topic at this time?
Well, Hatim, first of all, if we look at the divine revelation,
Yes.
the bigger the fitna, means the trial, the more information and guidance is given about it.
Yes.
The more it is regulated in our lives. So we get the benefit out of it and we don't actually get the harm out of it.
Yes.
Second thing why we selected this topic is this is something that pertains to people of all faiths, all nationalities, all races. If you're living in a world, there is no way that you're not exposed to materialism, or you're not involved in materialism, or you're not a victim of materialism.
Yes. So to start off, Muhammad, from a very early age, we come across money.
Right.
Yeah, and possessions and property. So do we really know the value of money as adults, as young people, as a community? What does money represent to us?
Very valid point, especially to begin with. A lot of us, we look at our dads as the ATM machine. The sad thing is, we are not taught. First of all, we need to know there's a difference between money, wealth, and cash. They might be used interchangeably when we talk. And in this program, we'll stick to the word of money. But the thing is, these are not taught to us in school, and even up to a great extent in colleges and higher education, unless we take a finance major. And this is very sad. And a lot of us, because of this, we fall into different traps and we suffer and our families suffer. So first of all, if you look at money, the definition out there is it's a current medium of exchange. It says in the form of metal coins and banknotes. So it used to be dirham and dinar or silver and gold for thousands of years, not only in the Islamic era. And that's why when you go to any museum in the world and you look at different time periods of past dynasties, you will see their coin collection.
Yes.
And now it's been moved from metal to paper, which is banknotes. And then that's been moved towards plastic, which is credit cards. And now it's been further pushed towards the digital domain, where we talk about the digital money. So eventually, they are pushing us towards a cashless society. And a lot of people out there, if you do the research on the internet, they say it's all about power and control. The other terminology is wealth. And that means an abundance of something valuable. Could be livestock, could be your cars, could be your houses, like you mentioned, property, real estate, tangible assets. Yeah. The other thing is cash. And that's the most liquid form of money. Okay. And it's in this day and age, it's paper. And, we are born in such an era that we are seeing the transition to plastic. We are already using paper and plastic. Okay. You go anywhere in the world and you try to pay for a dinner at a restaurant, they'll ask you paper or plastic.
Yes.
But now we're moving more and more towards the digital money or mobile money, to be more specific. So these are the three terminologies. And there's a joke out there that I would like to pay my credit card bill with my MasterCard. Yeah. So we really need to understand the difference between debit and credit.
Yes. And why do you think, Muhammad, that we have ignored this part of education since an early age? Education of money. And I don't mean in schools, I mean also at home. I mean, do our parents talk to us about the value of money, about what is money and how should we handle money? It seems to be that this is the last thing that we talk about in our homes, while it is the most important that runs our lives. Money is what is running our life today.
Exactly. You see, the thing is, a number of reasons for that come to mind. First of all, our parents didn't have access to all that knowledge pertaining to money. In their era, which is not that far away, but how this is reality, they were not that materialistic.
Yes.
They were using money was not using them.
Yes.
And they put emphasis on earning, a halal income.
Yes.
Which is something that is lawful, which is allowed, and staying away from haram, which is forbidden. And not to cheat and not to lie and, not to get involved in interest, which is riba. And, world was for the most part, the world was okay. In this day and age, we're also getting old. And when we look at our kids, the society is becoming more glamorous. It's more materialistic. So in this day and age, it is more crucial for us to talk to our kids about the value of money, the position of money that it should have in one's life, and how it should not be allowed to run one's life. And most important, what is the spiritual aspect of it? What is the divine revelation do's and don'ts when it comes to handling of money? I
think there's two sides to the coin when it comes to money. We either propagate to our children that never get rich because it's going to change you. It will make you a worse person. And the other side of the coin is that be rich and be prosper, and everything important in your life is only money. Yeah, so you have to do whatever is within your power to gain that money.
Exactly.
So it's the two extreme, and we should have a balanced approach.
I agree with you, and if Ahmed was here, he would say it's lack of knowledge, and I agree with him.
Yes.
With all due respect to our fathers and forefathers, they were like, okay, well, we've got food on the table and we've got roof over our heads and we got clothes on our bodies. Alhamdulillah, this is enough. Yes. However, I wish they had studied the example of Sayyidina Abu Bakr.
Yes.
And Sayyidina Osman. How rich they were. Number one, how they earned that money. Number two, where and how they spent that money, and how it benefited the grand cause of spreading Islam.
Yes.
Okay. And in our day and age, what we see is, like you said, the other extreme. Okay. Just make money. Don't worry about it, how you're doing it. You just gotta compete and make more.
Even if it's unlawful, even if you're stepping on someone, it doesn't matter.
We don't care. You should have more than XYZ. You know, if you're studying, you must be at the top of the class and get a gold medal, and you know, so on and so forth. And you know, when you ask the kids, why are you studying? So I can get a job. Okay, why? So I can make money. Why? So I can build a home. Why? So I can get married. Why? So I can put my kids in a good school. So there's a vicious cycle going on. And if you look at all these wish lists, all of them have everything to do with the world that we see. It has nothing to do with the world that we don't see.
Yes.
So we are in this point where we can actually strike moderation, looking at the teachings of Islam, and to nullify both extreme ends.
Okay, for the listeners who have just joined us on the show, today we're talking about Materialism The Illusion with me, Hatim Al Abdilsalam, and engineer Muhammad Farooq, and we have just touched upon the value of money. Now the next area that we want to touch upon, Muhammad, is three very important areas in our perspective towards money.
Exactly.
The first one is interest, bank interest. The second one is zakah, the obligatory charity, and the third is the inheritance.
Right.
So where do we start, Muhammad?
All right. Well, we'll take it from the top. First of all, you see, Islam is a beautiful, balanced way of life called Deen, and it's been ordained by our Creator. It's not a man-made, rules or conduct. It doesn't forbid us from making money. Rather, it gives the status of worship to making money, if it is earned according to its teachings. However, it encourages spending in any way possible, whether you do it openly or you do it in a secret way, helping the less privileged and the less fortunate. And it discourages the hoarding of money and also the wasting of money. Okay, so there is a perfect balance if you look at the Islamic perspective of money. When the areas of concerns, these are if someone can take these three things like take home from this show, it should be these three things. Because you see, after life, which is a blessing from the Creator, the most important thing is guidance. Next is we all need food, clothing, and shelter, and all these need money. So Islam by no far is saying that you need to give up everything, go sit under a tree and just meditate till you die. Some people unfortunately have this misconception, and that's the reason they stay away from Islam, because some of the other mighty religions, they denounce wealth.
Yes.
That's another story. They hoard wealth and they make big buildings, and with all the scandals coming out and all the money that they have got. But the thing is, an average person, he thinks of religion as something which is anti-world. That's not the case with Islam. However, when you look at regulation, and these are some of the strict ones in terms of interest, like God Almighty says in Quran in chapter 2, ayah or verse 276, Allah will deprive usury of all blessing, but will give increase for deeds of charity. Now this is not something new. If we look at the other monotheistic religions, especially the ones that claim their relationship with Father Abraham, interest had already been forbidden. It is only in recent memory that some of the people they got it, quote unquote, legalized, and now the whole world is sucked into interest. Just look at what's going on in Greek. It's really heartbreaking. You look at those news, you read the blogs, you look at the video bits from the people on the ground who are suffering. I was reading a quote by someone, and he said, the only reason I haven't committed suicide is my child. Other than that, give me a reason to live. Look what's going on with us. So this is just terrible. And if you look at the hadith of Muhammad, peace be upon him, in terms of interest, and by the way, I'm addressing all our listeners. I know how many Muslims are stuck in interest, and this is very shameful, and this is a huge sin. We need to take this seriously. The hadith says, Muhammad ﷺ said, cursed is the acceptor of the interest and its payer, and the one who records it, and the two witnesses, and he said they are all equal.
Muhammad, would you agree that some Muslims today claim that it is the necessity of life? It means if I don't go through the interest, I would not be able to build a house, I would not be able to buy a car, I would not be able to get married, and the entire structure of our lives is based on this loans or interests that we pay.
Well,
What would you like to say?
Two things I would like to say.
Yeah.
First, I would like to tell them, you don't have to go back too much into history if you're a lazy person. Just look at the lifestyle of your parents and your grandparents.
Yes.
Second thing is all the things you mentioned, again, they have to do with this world.
Yes.
Okay? We were told in Islam that the simpler a wedding is, the more blessing it will have.
Yes.
We were told, Rabbi ibn Lindaka Baytan fi Jannah. Oh Allah, make a house for me with you in paradise. Okay? So nowhere in Islam does it say that the rules of success mean you must have a house here.
Yes.
Or it must be this big, or it must have so many stories.
Yeah.
Okay, or it must be on this much area. These all prisons are created by our own imagination.
So you think that many of the Muslims out there are creating these excuses for themselves
Of course.
to get away from it?
Yeah, because see, Hatim, the thing is, if we as Muslims have managed to live without interest for 1400 years,
Yes.
and now it has just caught up to us in the last 37 years, or if you further want to take it a little bit more,
Yes.
just look back and see how simple life was when you didn't owe anybody money. And the sad thing we see now is that taking a loan, which used to be something very shameful, because in Islam it says that's the final line between begging,
Yes.
asking for a loan, next step is begging,
Yes.
and it's looked down upon. Now it has become a norm. We don't feel shameful. The only thing you say, okay, after I graduate, I'll get a loan, okay, I'll take a big car on loan, and then I'll take my holidays on loan, and it's okay, I'll pay through my salary. How pathetic is the situation that we have reversed the whole thing.
Yes.
And there's another hadith of Muhammad, peace be upon him, and this is very, very visual and very graphic and very scary. He says, on the night of Miraj, I came upon a group of people whose bellies were like houses. You talk about making houses just a while ago.
Yes.
They were full of snakes which could be seen from outside their bellies. I asked Gabriel who they were, and Gabriel told me that they were the people who had practiced riba, or interest. This is found in Ibn Majah and Ahmad. Now this is hair-raising. Tell me how anyone, let alone a Muslim, after listening to this thing, can still engage in riba.
Yes.
Either we don't believe in this ahadith, or we are just so in love with materialism that we just don't care and we are willing to take this serious thing upon us.
The other thing, Muhammad, is that as we said earlier, that we are creating the excuses for ourselves. So, for example, if we find ourselves in a situation that we have already convinced ourselves that we want to get into that loan, so we will not take the minimal that we require.
Exactly.
We will say that as long as now I'm into the debt, as well take the whole thing.
Right.
Yeah, so we take even more than what we really need.
Exactly. And we'll talk about this down the show when we talk about needs versus wants.
Yes.
I do agree with you. And the next one you mentioned was zakat.
Yes. Before you get into zakah, we just wanted to remind our listeners who have just joined us that today we're talking about Materialism The Illusion, and they can always call us on 24602058, 24602058. And at the beginning we spoke about the value of money, and now we are going to the three areas which are of concern. The first one is interest, the second one is zakah, and the third one is inheritance. Now, Muhammad has completed interest, and now we're getting into zakah.
Yeah, zakah is something very amazing. Unfortunately, a lot of people, including Muslims, they call it a tax. It's not a tax. It's not a sales tax. It's not a salary tax. It's not an income tax. It's not a VAT. It's something, it's a right of the poor upon you if you can pay. If you have stuff which is lying around for more than a year and you haven't used it, and it's only 2.5%. Now, this is the simplified version. The formula is a bit more sophisticated when you get towards metals like gold and silver, and you get towards real estate, livestock, and farms and things of that nature. Then the formula is a bit more sophisticated. However, zakat means purity. So people say, okay, yeah, it will purify my wealth. Well, guess what? It'll purify your heart from being a miser. Okay? It will remove the rust which accumulates on your heart. So it not only addresses the economic side of the house, it addresses the spiritual side of the house as well. And about zakat, we have wonderful verses in Quran. Most of the places zakat is mentioned along with salah.
Yes.
Waqimu salata wa atu zakat. All right. And zakat is basically of two kinds. One is mandatory, and one is anything you want to do above and beyond. And the good thing is that still in this age of materialism, Muslims are one of the nation that give out the most.
Yeah.
And most of the people, they go above and beyond 2.5%. And then there's a promise of God Almighty that whatever we spend in His cause, He will multiply it and He'll increase it. And not only will see the effects here, but we'll get the rewards in the
It's
hereafter.
very important, Muhammad, that what you mentioned, that zakah is to purify ourselves, and it's a cure for the diseases of the heart. Yeah, and I would like to emphasize to our Muslim brothers that when they pay the zakah, they should not feel that they are looking down towards the poor. Yeah, that they are doing them a favor. It should be the other way around.
Yeah,
that this is something that the poor, it's the right of the poor.
Yeah,
and we are helping ourselves by paying this
exactly
money.
Exactly. You see, the thing is, we should be humble when we help someone, and it's better if we help them quietly instead of making a big noise and getting our picture taken in the paper and handing a check to someone, and so everybody can say how great Hatim is and how how much he's giving. It's better if we do it quietly. However, if it's a common cause,
yes,
like making a school or making a masjid or things like that. By the way, there are scholars who say you can give money for masjid, but the categories of zakat are mentioned in Quran.
Yes.
So if it's a combined cause, then you can do it openly. The idea behind it is that if Hatim is giving so much, I will be encouraged and I will match it.
Yes.
And this has happened between Sayyidina Abu Bakr and Sayyidina Umar Farooq in those days. They used to compete in these things.
And before you continue, I just wanted to salute some of the companies today who are doing this initiative. They say that whatever the employees are contributing to the poor and needy, we will match it double.
Yeah.
So this is a very good initiative that should be taken. I think we have our first call for today.
Okay.
Assalamu alaikum.
Wa alaikum assalam. Brother Hatim and Brother Muhammad.
How are you,
Assalamu
sister?
Shaheen with you.
Assalamu alaikum, sister.
I have a question for you, Brother Muhammad. It was a very good hadith and a very hair-raising hadith that you just mentioned here regarding interest. As I understand and read between the lines, does it mean that if a person is not able to own a property or a belonging without having to pay this kind of interest, then does it mean that he or she should be able to use that particular belonging or a property just with the income or the wealth or the money that he or she has it in order to afford it? And to make it clearer, I think I could give my question in the form of an example. If I would like to purchase a car and I do not have... Brother Muhammad, are you listening?
Yes, I am. Go ahead, please.
All right. Suppose I want to buy a car and I do not have the means to make a complete down payment or a complete payment for the entire car at one go, and I'm paying in installments, which I will be also into this system of paying interest for that. Then does it mean that I do not go in for that car, or do I hire one so that I'm able to pay a minimal amount on a monthly basis?
Okay.
Do I understand interest like this?
Well, sisters, the thing is, there are a lot of Sharia compliant solutions out there. However, most of us don't have enough knowledge. The thing is, best thing is you buy a car, you save up your money and buy a car, even if it's a used one. I'll give you my example. I hope I'm saying the truth over here. I don't remember any time myself buying a car on any kind of loan. Second thing is, I have engaged in Qard al-Hasna, where I just go to my friends and I say, look, I need X amount of money for so many days, and hopefully I'll pay you the whole or part of it by maximum by this date. And they have never charged me interest. So it depends on the company you keep as well. I know people here, my Omani friends, who have made houses and they have taken loans from their family. Okay, so saying this, that it cannot be done, is actually negating what the Quran and Sunnah says. And none of us want to do that crime. The thing is, it's better, like you said, rent a car, lease a car, buy an old one, save enough money for the car of your dream, or get Qard al-Hasna. But don't get engaged into these gray areas, right? Because there are a lot of people out there who will not use the word interest or riba, but they will try to do different things which you can classify it as backdoor riba. So it's better to stay away. This is my humble opinion.
Well, in fact, it's an excellent reminder, especially for people like me. So thank you very much for clarifying.
Jazakallah for calling, sister.
Thank you very much, sister, for that. So, Muhammad, we're still at the point of zakah.
Yeah, there's lots of ayahs and ahadiths. The challenge for this program was, for me, was not to find content, was to actually filter content. We'll just look at one ayah from Surah 98, and it's ayah number 5. It says, "And they are ordained not else than to serve Allah, keep religion pure for Him alone, as men by nature upright, and to establish worship and to pay the poor due, that is the zakat." This is true religion. Okay, this is our Creator telling us. And if we look at revisit one hadith real quick before we move on to inheritance.
Yes.
Is that Muhammad Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam, he said, a guy asked him, "Tell me, what should I do to be admitted to paradise?" And peace be upon him, he answered, "Worship Allah, associating nothing with Him." Now this point is very crucial, because there are a lot of Muslims who worship Allah, who love Allah, but they associate partners with Him. And second thing is to observe Salah. Third thing is to pay zakat. And the fourth thing is to strengthen the ties of kinship.
Okay, we have our second call. Assalamu alaikum. Assalamu alaikum.
Alaikum assalam wa rahmatullah.
How are you, brother?
I'm good. How are you, brother?
Fine, thank you. Alhamdulillah.
Ramazan Kareem to both of you.
Jazakallah, same to you.
Jazakallah khair.
My name is Mukhtar Ali. First of all, I would like to congratulate you for conducting such a good show,
Jazakallah khair.
which is really useful and very practical, and very good is that you are discussing the common issues which our society is having right now.
Jazakallah khair, brother.
And I think this show should continue even after Ramadan.
Inshallah, make dua.
Inshallah.
Just I want to make 2 points regarding the topic you are discussing right now.
Yes.
First point I would like to make that we as human beings, as already you discussed, that we have increased the list of our necessities. I mean, there was a time when people used to live with only house and things for eating.
That's right.
Now our list of necessities, at some stage, these things, they were luxuries, like buying a 4-wheel, buying a sports car, like having the latest model of smartphone. They used to be luxuries, but right now they are necessities. So when people adopt such lifestyle, they have to squeeze their finances. So then, which leads to then buying these things through interest. And I think also the state should take a look into it, that there are so many, I mean, this is a corporate culture. People are making use of your deficiencies, so they give you things on interest. So the state should also be responsible for taking action to stop interest.
Yes,
Or
you're
to at
absolutely
least make some good, adjustment in these, so that people can buy interest-free things. And second thing, I would like to convey my message to those people who are very rich, that they should at least think that their money, what the difference their money is making as a whole, what the difference their money is making to the humankind and to the society. They shouldn't just think that what their money is making for themselves.
Yes.
I mean, having 2 or 3 sports car or having a big house, it doesn't mean anything to humanity or anything to the society. This is only for individuals.
It's selfishness, and they will leave all this here.
Yeah, if people will start thinking at a mass level, definitely this will make a big change.
Definitely.
Thank you very much, Brother Farooq. And you've been a loyal listener. You've been calling every single day. So we thank you for this.
Actually,
Thank you.
I really like this program. And after a long time on radio, I never used to listen to the radio, but this was one day I was traveling, and this was sudden that I tuned into radio and I listened to your program, and I really like your show. And I wish you will continue this show later.
Inshallah. Brother Mukhtar, we request you to be the ambassador of this program and propagate it to your friends and family and neighbors. Jazakallah khair for your call.
Jazakallah khair. Shukran.
Okay, take care, brother.
Thank you. I think it's time for a short break.
Yeah.
We'll go for a break and we'll come back after that.
Lulu BMW Dream Drive. This season, luxury awaits you at Lulu. Shop and win 6 BMW X5 35i and other fabulous prizes. With every purchase of 10 Rials, get a chance to win up to 6 BMW X5 35i and 30 Icon products like 48-inch LED TVs, top-load automatic washing machines, air coolers, halogen air fryers, tablets and lots more. Shop at Lulu today and stand to drive home your dream. Promotion valid till 5th August 2015. Lulu, where the world comes to shop.
Ramadan, the time of spiritual reflection and worship, a time of patience, humility, self-discipline, and submissiveness to God. During the holy month, Radio Sultanate of Oman 90.4 FM takes you on a journey from spiritual reflection and enlightenment to family entertainment. Join us all day and all night long here on the Nation Station. Let us take you on a spiritual journey through our voice this Ramadan in Life as It Is. Explore opportunities and tranquility with the young voices of tomorrow on the Nation Station 90.4 FM from Saturday to Thursday, 1:30 to 2:30 p.m. Engineer Muhammad Farooq, Janab Al-Saida, Maya Al-Said, Ahmed Al-Matani, and Hatim Al Abdilsalam. Call us on 246-02058 or text us at 90406 to explore your potentials like never before. This Ramadan, here on the Nation Station.
You lift me up high, you spread my wings and fly me to the sky. I feel so alive, it's like my soul thrives in your light. But how I wish you'd be here with me all year around. Ramadan, 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 ya Habib. Ramadan, Ramadan.
Assalamu alaikum, our dear listeners. This is Hatim Al Abdilsalam, joining me, my brother, Engineer Muhammad Farooq, and today we're talking about Materialism The Illusion. We started off with the value of money and the three main areas that we wanted to talk about, which is interest, zakah, and now we're moving on to inheritance.
Yeah, like the first two ones pertain to us as long as we are alive, the interest and the zakah. One is highly condemned, the other one is highly favored. The third one is basically something that happens to money after we are gone.
Yes.
What we leave behind. So in terms of inheritance, it's given in Quran in chapter 4, verse 33. And unto each we have appointed heirs of that which parents and near kindreds leave. And as for those with whom your right hands have made a covenant, give them their due. Allah is ever witness over all things. And then we'll visit one short hadith. Muhammad Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam, he said, it is duty of a Muslim man who has something which is to be given as a bequest, not to have it for more than 2 nights without having his will written regarding it. So again, these are very strict warnings which are given to us. And we have seen in this day and age, unfortunately, there's a lot of disputes in families, most
Yes.
of which are money driven. And they push us to such an extreme that the father will tell his son, get out, you're not my son anymore. I'm not going to give you anything from my inheritance.
And the courts are filled with cases
of course, brothers
dispute
and
among
fathers
brothers
and uncles
fathers
and sisters
husbands
and
and
mothers.
wives. Yeah.
Now here's the scary thing.
Yeah.
He, guess what? He is your son. Don't matter you like him or not. You have to give him his right, because this has been dictated by the creators. It's not up to you. It's not your choice.
And the other way around as well.
Yeah. So the thing is, it don't matter. We hope and pray that all your sons and daughters, they are very obedient and very faithful, and they're the coolness of your eyes. But for our listeners out there who are suffering from this issue, you cannot exclude them from your will. Again, this is not your choice. So please don't leave this world with more burden on you than you had in this life. Okay?
The other thing, Muhammad, is that some would go to the extent that they would wish their parents to pass away so that they can inherit.
Oh yeah,
so
they joke about it.
They want this fast cash.
Yeah.
They want to accelerate their death so that they can, move on and get the properties of this world.
There have been a number of cases where sons have actually killed their fathers.
Yes.
And that brings me to the other side, that where it says that there's a hadith that when you spend money on your family with the right intention, that's actually sadaqah.
Yes.
So please, for people who have money out there, don't hoard it, till you die or till you're killed by somebody. Okay, spend it on yourself. Spend it on your family. Spend it on your friends. Spend it on the poor. Okay, there's a definition of miser that he lives very rich and he lives very poor and he dies very rich.
Yes.
Because when he dies, you discover all this wealth that he was hoarding. So it didn't benefit anyone else, and sadly, it didn't even benefit him.
Yeah.
From a physical point of view, where he spent and made his life better, and from a spiritual point of view, where he could have had all this reward for doing sadaqah.
So he lived a life of misery, and God forbid the destination he is going is also going to be misery.
Terrible. Yeah,
because
exactly.
he has not fulfilled the right of himself and the rights of others.
So he failed the fitna of money, or the trial of money, and he lost this world, and he lost his hereafter also. May God protect us all from such a terrible, terrible ending.
Would like to remind our listeners that they can call us and share their point of view about today's topic, Materialism The Illusion, on 24602058, 24602058. Okay, today, Muhammad, as we are talking about materialism, there is a myth that is going on. Yeah, how far it is true, we'll find out. It says that today we buy what we want, we don't buy what we need.
Exactly.
How far is this true, Muhammad?
Sadly, it is true. And the message again is Islam is a very balanced religion. And if we follow and value its teachings, our life will be amazing here and in the hereafter. The sad thing is we are driven by greed. And we are driven by our desires. The thing is, we will never be able to satisfy our materialistic desires. This is reality. Whether you agree with it or not, it doesn't matter.
Yes.
This is reality.
Yes.
And this will eventually drive you towards debt. So don't lose sight of balance between materialism and spiritualism. Okay, money is the only thing which we will be asked twice about. Number one, how we made it. Number two, how we spent it. Okay, yes. And now we see a shift in the whole world, not only Muslims, and sadly Muslims. There is a shift between want and from need to want.
Yes.
Okay, the lines between, like the one of the caller mentioned, between luxury and necessity are diminishing. What used to be luxury at some point in time, in our parents' time as an example, now it's becoming a necessity.
I don't know if you have this feeling, and our listeners have the same feeling, Muhammad, that the more you earn, the more you feel distressed, the more you feel that it's not enough.
Exactly.
Yeah, although like 5 years ago you had maybe less income, but now you have more income and you still feel that you have not fulfilled the obligation.
You raise the bar,
that
You want more.
Every time you get more income, you raise the bar. Every time you get more income, you want more things.
Yeah, exactly. This is very sad. I mean, the thing is, we should enjoy the blessings of Allah which He has given us. Instead of complaining that my salary is not like this, and my title is not like this, and my position is not like this, and my career growth is not like this. Look at the people who don't even have what you've got. There's a very nice saying, and I'm going to give you the sanitized version since we are here on air. It says, don't buy stuff you don't need with money you don't have to impress people you don't like. All right.
That's a good one.
And I'll give you a hint. I just changed the word stuff. It's something else actually. But anyways, it's a very powerful statement. We look at it and we smile, but think about it. Don't buy stuff you don't need with money you don't have to impress people you don't like.
The best example, Muhammad, is the gadgets that we have. Yeah. People, change gadgets more than clothes.
True.
And if you ask some of them, okay, what are the functions that are there in the new one that you have, new toy that you have? and some of them even don't know what is the function, or they don't use
A lot of
half of the
us
functions.
use 20% of the functions in our smartphones.
Yes,
We don't even know how to use the other. We don't even know they exist.
unfortunately.
But the problem is, look, it's not only the consumers that I blame. We should also look at the sinister role played by the corporates. And one of the caller touched upon it briefly.
I think we'll get to
towards
that
it,
point
yeah.
at
So,
the end of the
yeah.
show. So, Muhammad, so is there a balance now in the community between what we buy and what we want and what we need,
No.
or is it the whole shift? The entire population goes towards that.
Well, most of them are going in that direction. I see very few people who still have a level head on their shoulders.
Yes.
Most of them are just sucked in by this glamour and all this advertisement that we are bombarded with day in and day out in print media and other media.
The other example that I could think of this particular quote that we said is at the last week before the month of Ramadan. You find people just going wild, at the market, buying stuff
It's
that
very sad.
as if we're going through catastrophe
Yeah.
or a disaster,
Yeah.
natural disaster.
Mm-hmm.
It's not becoming the month of fast. It's becoming the month of feast,
Mm-hmm.
and people are stack food, that will cover for the next year.
Yeah.
And which is terrible, and they are burdened themselves, their income. They cannot afford it, but they just do it.
Yeah, this is an example of, again, being an extremist and being unthankful to your creator. I mean, last 10 days of Ramadan are the icing on the cake, so to speak. All right, you're supposed to do extra prayer. You're supposed to do extra, make extra dua and do more extra azkar and spend time in the masjid and go in seclusion and do itikaf, which is again, renouncing the world and trying to get in touch with your spiritual self. Look what people are doing. All the Eid sales and the moon night outings and everything that you haven't done during the whole year, you'll do it in those last 10 days. Look what Shaitan has done to you. Even though he's chained up, he left you on autopilot. He doesn't have to be here. You're doing the job yourself.
You're very right.
And if we look at what, again, Islam says, there's in Quran chapter 17, ayah 27, it says, "Verily spendthrifts are brothers of Shaitan, and the Shaitan is ever ungrateful to his Lord." So all my brothers and sisters out there who are spending money lavishly on their weddings and buying stuff they don't need and, just wasting money, look at it. You're compared with brothers and sisters of Shaitan.
And this is not what we are saying. This is what Allah says.
This is what
in His
Allah is
Quran.
saying. So don't get mad at us. They say don't shoot the messenger. We're just reminding each other,
Yes.
ourselves first and then you all. Because and what's the characteristics? Shaitan is ungrateful to his Lord. So by wasting money, you're being ungrateful to the one who gave you that money as a test. You're failing the test. And there's a hadith where it's said that a time will come upon the people when one will not care how one gains one's money, legally or illegally.
Yes. And
So-
this is happening now.
Yeah, exactly. We see
is
it all
happening now.
all around us, that because of our foolish desires and all these things that we're going to leave behind when we die, and we are not told when we're going to die. Whenever you tell somebody, when we die, this will happen, immediately the figure 80, 90, 100 comes to mind.
Yes.
That's because of our love to the dunya.
Yes.
And we have forgotten what's waiting for us in the hereafter, both in terms of reward and in terms of punishment, because it's a principle of carrot and stick.
Yes.
If the greatness of heaven will not appeal to you, the terrible conditions in hell will appeal to you, and you'll say, well, wait a minute, I don't want to go there.
Yes.
Well, we have lost sight of both, unfortunately, a lot of us.
Subhanallah. Muhammad, the next point that we wanted to touch upon is consumers more than producers. We have become a nation that consumes to an extent that is terrible, and we hardly produce anything.
Well,
What made us reach to this extent?
selfishness and lack of knowledge of Quran and Sunnah. Look at our parents. What a simplistic life they had. What a fulfilling life they had. Okay? Their health was better than us. Their mental health, their spiritual health, their physical health. They didn't used to eat like animals like we do.
And they worked hard, they strived, they farmed.
We're lazy.
They did business.
Yeah, exactly. Our whole existence depends on comfort, luxury, I don't even want to get up to turn on the lights. I'll just find an app on my mobile and it'll dim the lights for me.
Yeah.
What happened? I mean, we are just destroying our health. I mean, why do we work out? Because stress is good for us. A certain amount of stress is called positive stress.
Yes.
And when we get into the realms of luxury and, just sitting around and doing nothing and getting everything done to us, that's ridiculous. That's not how we were made. And, we were never supposed to be a nation of takers. We were supposed to be a nation of givers.
Yes.
We take from the treasures of, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, and we distribute it among his creation.
And there is a verse that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala repeats a lot in the Quran, where Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, الَّذِينَ آمَنُوا وَعَمِلُوا الصَّالِحَاتِ Those who believe and do goodness.
Exactly.
So this doing goodness, I think we have misunderstood this, thinking that we should be righteous, we should pray and fast and do the rituals, which is only benefiting ourselves.
Right.
But doing good, it means being productive, being at service to others, and being a member that will contribute to the society
at large.
That's why the early generation have understood this very well. That's why we had the era of inventors and scientists.
All the discoveries,
and discoveries. And you can imagine the amount of contribution that they gave to the entire world with their knowledge. You'd find one of them is a geologist and a scientist and a doctor and a mathematician and a physicist. You'd just be amazed how were they able to contribute so much to the society while we can't contribute a single thing.
Exactly.
Today.
We're just consuming, we're not producing. And when this is a very interesting point you mentioned about our forefathers and how they contributed towards science and technology and making the world better. So we are supposed to be perfectionists in everything we do. And I was reading somewhere, they say when a nation talks about their forefathers' greatness, this means they are in a free fall.
Yes.
They're in zawal.
Yes.
And if we look around ourselves, it's not a lie. And there's a very nice saying, they say when Allah gives you more, raise your standard of giving, not only your standard of living.
Yes.
Okay.
There is a very, very famous quote from the second Caliph, Umar ibn al-Khattab. He says, اخشوشنوا فإن النعمة لا تدوم. Be tough, because the blessings will never last forever.
Exactly.
And we tend to forget, Muhammad, us including this as well, that whatever blessings we have, tomorrow we might not have it.
Yeah, and we should be prepared for it.
And we should be prepared for it. We should be tough and rough, and we should work hard and strive, and think about the day that all these blessings will disappear.
Exactly.
Now we're living the luxury of having the oil, and just imagine a few months back when we had the suffering in the oil prices. The whole country was suffering. We were affected. So why do we wait until the time that it affects us? Why don't we prepare ourselves mentally?
Exactly. We should be proactive, and we should take this preparedness more than mental. We should actually look at alternatives in terms of generating income. And there's a very nice hadith that, since you talked about it, it says, the Lord's commandment for every one of his slaves is, spend on others and I will spend on you.
Yes.
Okay, that's in Bukhari and Muslim. So the thing is, if we are not producers, how we can spend? If we are consumers, will you really spend on others?
No, not really.
Right? So what is our contribution towards the world? Let's say if all of us died today, will anybody miss us tomorrow?
Not really.
Except the corporates.
They lost customers.
Yeah, exactly. So we are nothing more than consumers or customers, which is a very sad state of affair. It was not like this.
And we were driven into that, Muhammad.
Yeah.
And we will talk maybe at the end of the show, before the end of the show, of the people who are responsible for us moving towards this.
Exactly.
Of course, we are to blame at the first place.
Yeah, definitely.
Because we went with our own will, but also there were reasons behind us falling into this trap. Now, for sure, Muhammad, we are in a big race, a very big race.
Right.
And this race that has no end.
Yeah.
We are competing in the wrong things.
Exactly.
So tell us a little bit about this race.
Yeah, you see, whenever there's a race, before the race, we define what is success.
Yes.
Okay. And Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, He has defined success for us in Quran, which is to eventually end up in paradise. Okay. So the thing is, yes, there is emotions of competing in us. However, we need to channel them and discipline them, okay, by looking at the early generations of Islam. How did they use their feelings of competing with each other? By human, we want to compete, no doubt about it. Now, it's up to you whether you want to compete in the wrong things, which will be detrimental for you in this world and will get you nothing in the hereafter, or you can compete in things which will be beneficial for you in this world and in the hereafter also. Like there's a ayah of Surah Baqarah, it's ayah number 254. O you who believe, spend of that which we have provided for you before a day comes when there will be no bargaining, nor friendships, nor intercession, and it is the disbelievers who are the zalimun. Okay? So the thing is, it starts from spending. If our hearts are attached with money and in this world, would we like to leave this world and go to heaven? Would we like to think or worry or do something or plan for our hereafter? You know, there's a joke, they say everybody wants to go to heaven, but nobody wants to die because our hearts are just attached to this world. And the thing is...
And the only way to go to heaven is through dying.
Yeah, exactly.
There's
and you
no
have
any other way.
And there's no choice. We're all eventually going to die at some point
I think we are terrified of the idea of death because we have not been doing our work.
Exactly.
In this world.
You see, if we had been spending and earning the way Islam says, and we've been spending on poor and the less fortunate, and we've gone to disaster zones as volunteers, and we've provided bread factories, and we've made homes for the poor and provided shelter and clothing, then all our investment would be in the hereafter. We would be looking forward to going to the hereafter. But unfortunately, look around ourselves. How many of us are actually doing this thing? So that's why
hardly any.
Yeah, there is not a balance. And you see, the thing is, we have talked about this in previous programs also, that Allah has defined success, where, and I encourage our listeners of all faiths and even no faiths to get a hold of a copy of Quran or, find it online and read Surah Al-Asr, where God mentions faith, okay, multiplied by good deeds, multiplied by preaching the truth, and multiplied by patience. Asking others to be patient. Because when you preach truth, it's not going to be easy. Not everybody will buy it and they'll hug you and kiss you. No, you're going to have hardships. That's where patience comes into play. All right. This is what the balance is all about. The other thing is, if you want to compete, we are encouraged to compete in good things. Like, if you read, I think it's Surah Al-Tukasar, 102 Surah, and verse number 1, Al-Hakum Al-Tukasar Hatta Zurtum Al-Maqabar, which is the mutual rivalry for piling up of worldly things diverted you until you go down to your graves.
Yes.
No, this is reality. I want anybody to just come here and prove us wrong. Prove this word of the Creator wrong. Isn't this what's happening around us?
Yes.
And you look at the people who supposedly become very successful worldly in terms of material. All right, the highest suicide rate is in those countries. Their teenagers are killing themselves. Their women are killing themselves. So the thing is, something is seriously wrong with the picture. While they are collecting statistics of suicide, why don't they try to find out the root cause analysis? And I'll make their job easier. It says in Quran, "Ala bi zikrillahi tatma'innul qulub." Verily, it is the remembrance of the Creator that brings peace to the heart.
Yes.
So it's not in a food festival, you probably, sick in your body. It's not in a music festival, you're probably sick in your spirit. Okay. It's not in a shopping festival. Okay. You'll end up getting into debt. And there's a terminology now. They say shopaholics. And like obesity has been classified as a disease, I'm sure in a while shopaholic will be classified as a disease. But then what is the solution? The world is suffering. Their children are suffering, and we can take our own suffering, but we cannot see our children suffer.
But the entire world is suffering, Muhammad, except a few fraction of the population who are enjoying whatever is happening.
Yeah.
And this group we're going to talk about.
The top 1%. We'll get to it. Yeah, we'll get to it.
Now the next point, before we go to the next point, we would like to remind our listeners that the show is open for all of you to share your points and views about this topic, which is Materialism The Illusion. And the number to call is 2460602058. 24602058. The next point is, Muhammad, why don't we feel content?
All right.
The more we get, the more we want.
Exactly. There is no end to this desire till we go to our graves. You see, there are a couple of very nice hadiths of Muhammad, peace be upon him. I would really like to share these with the listeners, first of all, as a reminder for myself, and second, for everybody out there. It says, first one is, you will vie with one another, then you will shun one another, and then you will hate one another. Okay.
Can you repeat that hadith, please?
You will vie with one another, meaning competing.
Mm-hmm.
Then you will shun one another, meaning you will stop talking to each other and, discontinue your family relations and all that. And then you will hate one another, meaning your heart will be split. They won't be united.
SubhanAllah, this particular hadith, it's like a prophecy.
Yeah.
And whatever the Prophet ﷺ has said in 1400 years ago, it's happening, it's becoming a reality today.
Yeah, see, the beauty of Islam is it's independent of time and space. People don't understand. We have some pseudo-intellectuals with Muslim names who challenge that, Islam needs to be, updated and, all sorts of nonsense. The thing is, they don't understand Islam.
Yes.
It is an amazing thing. And there's another hadith. This is the top of everything. It goes something like this. There should be no envy except in two cases. Number one, a person whom Allah has given knowledge of Quran and he recites it throughout the night and the day. And thus a neighbor of his hears him and says, I wish I was given like so-and-so and could do what he is doing. The second one is a person whom Allah has given wealth and he spends it for the sake of Allah. A man says, I wish I was given like so-and-so, so that I can do with that money what he is doing. So these are the only two conditions we are encouraged to compete. And here to mind you...
And today we don't have people envying others in these good areas.
Exactly. And mind you, here the word envy is used as a positive thing, not as a desire that has ill feelings. We often see, billionaires... We often see billionaires who donate their fortunes, but how many are there? Just look at, what about the trillionaires?
Yes.
How much they're hoarding and how much the suffering they're causing to the poor people, where a number of poor people commit suicides because they can't pay the loans off.
Yes.
So is this a way to treat your fellow, creation by persecuting them and by driving them to their own death?
Even there is a very important hadith of the Prophet ﷺ where he says if a human being was given a river of gold, he would ask another one.
Yeah, exactly.
Which is a very good expression and example that the Prophet ﷺ has given. This is what is happening today.
Mm-hmm.
If you ask anyone, when will you be content? Yeah. They say, for example, if I make my first million. But when the first million comes, you'll never be content. You'll ask for the second million and the third.
You would want the first million to make the second million for you. That's why we see so many people sunk in riba, in interest. They want easy money without putting in any labor.
Yes.
And this hadith you mentioned is really amazing. It says if a son of Adam was given a valley full of gold, he would love to have a second one. And if he were given the second one, he would love to have a third one. For nothing fills the belly of Adam's son except dust. And Allah forgives who repents to him.
I think it's time for the second break. We'll continue with the discussion and the calls from our listeners after the break.
Inshallah.
Want to win a car with all the features you ever wanted? The Geely M Grand 7 with a 1.8-litre automatic engine can be yours. Just WhatsApp your name, location and say that one thing you like the most about Geely and you could become the lucky winner to own one. Send us your reply on WhatsApp at 9440 today. Anyone could win a Geely M Grand 7 this Ramadan. Terms and conditions apply.
Fly Emirates to 17 destinations across the Far East and as many as 38 European destinations in our ever-expanding network. Be there for some truly inspiring experiences. To find out more, visit emirates.com/om. Fly Emirates. Hello tomorrow.
Lulu BMW Dream Drive. This season, luxury awaits you at Lulu. Shop and win 6 BMW X5 35i and other fabulous prizes. With every purchase of 10 Rials, get a chance to win up to 6 BMW X5 35i and 30 Icon products like 48-inch LED TVs, top-load automatic washing machines, air coolers, halogen air fryers, tablets and lots more. Shop at Lulu today and stand to drive home your dream. Promotion valid till 5th August 2015. Lulu, where the world comes to shop.
Let us take you on a spiritual journey through our voice this Ramadan in Life as It Is. Explore opportunities and tranquility with the young voices of tomorrow on the Nation Station 90.4 FM from Saturday to Thursday, 1:30 to 2:30 p.m. Engineer Muhammad Farooq, Janab Al-Saida, Maya Al-Said, Ahmed Al-Matani, and Hatim Al Abdilsalam. Call us on 246-02058 or text us at 90406 to explore your potentials like never before. This Ramadan, here on the Nation Station.
You lift me up high, you spread my wings and fly me to the sky. I feel so alive, it's like my soul thrives in your light. But how I wish you'd be here with me all year around.
Assalamu alaikum, dear listeners. Welcome to your show Life as It Is, and today the topic is Materialism The Illusion, with myself Hatim Al Abdilsalam and my dear brother Engineer Muhammad Farooq. We have covered a big chunk of today's topic, and today we are we have reached to the point where materialism is a disease.
Yeah.
So is it a disease, Muhammad? And if it is a disease, why can't we identify that it is a disease? We love this disease.
Well, you see, the thing is, first of all, somebody has to identify this disease who's not sick of this disease. Most of us are sick with this disease.
Yes.
Second thing is, it's a bit difficult to identify the symptoms. And again, I'll take everybody back to the teachings of the Quran and of Islam in general, where there's an ayah which says that it is not bir that you turn bir means righteousness, that you turn your faces towards east and or west, but bir means righteousness is one who, number one, believes in, and there's a list of believes in Allah, the last day, the angels, the books, the prophets. Number two, gives his wealth in spite of love for it.
Yes.
Very important point. Okay. And then there's a list like to the kinfolks, means to your relatives, to the orphans, to the maskeen, means poor people, to the wayfarer, to those who ask for it, to set the slaves free, so on and so forth. And the next one is perform salah, which is the third one.
Which is prayer.
Yeah. And the fourth one is again give zakat.
So okay. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has mentioned twice spending.
The amazing thing about this ayah is, and the next one is fulfill their covenant when they make it, meanings they keep their promises. Okay, and the next one is, and be patient in extreme poverty and ailment, meaning if they are sick, and the times of fighting battle, such are the people of truth, and they are al-muttaqun. So there are two amazing things about this ayah that really struck me. Number one, the order. Okay, that after belief, immediately God Almighty is saying, gives his or her wealth in spite of love for it.
Yes.
We usually give the rotten stuff that we really don't need. If somebody gives us, we will scream.
There is an important point here, Muhammad, that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, our creator, He has identified that we love this.
Exactly.
This wealth. He knows that we're going to love this.
In spite of love for it.
We're going to be attached to it.
Exactly. That's the test. If we didn't like it, we didn't love it, we'll give it to anybody anyways.
Easy, yes.
So here, two things were amazing. One is the order, okay, which is belief in X number of things and immediately wealth. And then that it's in addition to zakat. So zakat is mandatory.
Yes.
This is recommendation. So God Almighty is saying, okay, well, this is
voluntarily.
Exactly. And there is only our own betterment if we do this thing.
And
so,
if you see in the Islamic teachings, giving out charity is associated with every single thing that we do.
Yeah.
So for anything that, if we want to purify ourselves, we give out charity. If we are blessed with children, we give out charity.
To
if
avoid calamity.
Yes. If we were sick, then we give out charity to
Exactly.
to become better. If we have received a promotion, for example, or something, good news or blessings from Allah,
Exactly.
we give out charity.
Exactly.
So it's associated with everything in our life.
And the other thing is, think about it. If all our time and resources and energy and planning and thinking and prayers are concerned only with this dunya, making money, making wealth,
With this
hoarding
life.
wealth, okay, big house, bigger car, okay, bigger bank balance, whatever, then what will happen to the spiritual side? We only have 24 hours in our life. And that too, somebody gave a very nice formula that 8 hours at work, 8 hours sleeping, and then 8 hours with whatever, your family, your money, your whatever. So we're spending 8 hours making money, and we're spending 8 hours spending money. There's something drastically wrong with this formula.
Yes, you're absolutely right. Now, we since the beginning of the show, we have started and spoke about materialism, and we've shared a long list of elements that are related to materialism. So, what exactly is it doing to our life?
Well, you see, the thing is, it's, first of all, it's killing our spirituality. Okay. Second, in most cases that we've seen of the callers who are calling with the concerns, and even when we talk to our friends and our colleagues, it's pushing us into the realms of debt. Okay. And debt is something which is seriously looked down upon by our religion. And because of this formula, it takes the peace and harmony out of our lives. And it makes us selfish. I'll give you a simple example. I might ask you, Hatim, let's go out and have dinner. But if my core focus is only to collect more money and count it and recount it and check online my bank balance and if my salary is here and how much more I have and how much more I'll have next month, okay, will I invite you to a simple thing as dinner? No. So it's going to make us selfish. It's going to keep our hearts splitting further apart.
And it occupies your mind.
Exactly.
Today in the workplace, Muhammad, you always find people talking about the increment, the promotions,
Exactly.
how much money shall I get, how
Exactly.
much allowances,
Exactly.
what are the new changes in the policy. People stop talking about their lives, stop talking about your families, the good things in life. Even in Ramadan now, people don't talk about, okay, yesterday we attended a lecture, we heard so-and-so, and it was fruitful. Or, for example, I visited a sick person in the hospital, and this is what I experienced. So we stopped completely talking about that.
Priorities have changed.
The priorities have really changed.
And this is a grand tragedy because, think about it, we're going to leave our mind and bodies in this world. They'll go back to dirt and become dirt. But the soul is the one which will survive, and we are hurting it the most. We're giving it no nourishment.
No attention at all.
And before this program, in the other radio show, I heard them mentioning this hadith. I'll say it again anyways. When a man falls into debt, he speaks lies and he breaches promises. So you are compromising your integrity by chasing the dunya. This is another downfall that will happen to you. Your friends will not like you. They'll say, oh, whenever Hatim comes, he will ask me for money. I know he will ask me for money. I know he wants something. Or he'll complain about something. He will not say Alhamdulillah. Okay. And I have seen this on my own self, that a number of my friends which we really used to hang around, now I don't like their company. So, because when I sit with them, it's all about, oh, this is the new model of mobile, and, this is the price here, but if you get it from there, it will be this, and, it means, it feels so artificial and useless, all that talk. You don't even want to sit over there anymore.
There's another very important point, Muhammad, when it comes to materialism, where it's affecting us. We tend to question the role of Allah. Our creator. As we know, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has told us in the Quran that He is the one who is providing for us.
Exactly.
And now because of materialism, we sit and think and we talk about this, not knowing the danger behind it. When we say that we have to provide the future of our children.
Yeah, save money for them.
What will we do? Yeah, we have to take this loan. We have to do this because we're guaranteeing the future of our children.
Exactly.
Who are you? Are you guaranteeing the future of your children?
Exactly.
Or is it Allah who is guaranteeing the future of all of us?
I mean, Hatim, we have friends who don't have children because they're worried about if they have too many children, who will provide for them. And I asked them, if your parents thought the same way, you won't be here today.
Muhammad, we have a call. Assalamu alaikum. Assalamu alaikum. Assalamu alaikum.
Assalamu alaikum.
Wa alaikum salam. How are you, brother?
Very good. The voice is not very clear.
I hope you can hear me now.
It's a bit better.
Okay, now.
It's not very clear.
Okay, you just go ahead and say your points, and then you can hear us from the radio.
Okay, thanks for this opportunity. I've been listening to the radio for the last 15 minutes. Very interesting conversation.
MashaAllah.
But I'm just a bit confused about one thing, because we have to define what is materialism really. Because for example, it says al-mal wal-banun zinat al-hayat ad-dunya.
Yes.
So wanting the money and the good things in life, it doesn't necessarily have to be evil. I agree with Engineer Muhammad that once it gets into the greed part and you put yourself into debt, the greed is evil. It's an evil habit and an evil thing to want. But wanting the best, to progress in life, to get a promotion, to get a higher salary, to provide to your family,
right?
Is it necessarily a bad thing? That's my question. Is it? What is materialism living? Is it like living for it, or making it means to happiness? It's a way to also, like I said, mal wal banun zinat al dunya. It's
right.
described as zina.
Right.
Yeah?
Right.
That's
right.
a very
Decoration,
very good question, brother.
Jazakallah
Thank
khair.
you very much.
I'm glad that you took the time to make this call. I'm sure other listeners would have the same thing on their mind. You see, you're exactly right. However, it's about priorities. We said in the beginning that Islam doesn't denounce making of money. It only regulates how money should be made, and it encourages how money should be spent for our own betterment. So as an example, if you're a good employee earning a halal living and it's your desire to become a manager or a senior manager, there's nothing wrong with it. Okay? If you want to make more money, there's nothing wrong with it. The question is when you make it the central point in your life, when all your thinking and all your conversation on the dining table and with your friends, it becomes an obsession that if I don't become a manager, that's it, I'm a failure. Or if I don't become a manager, this means I've lost it all. Or if I don't become a manager, khalas, I'm not gonna work anymore. Okay, so it's about priority. Money is like it's like a fire. It's a good slave, but it can be a bad master. So you need to know what your relationship should be with wealth and money. Okay, I hope that answers the question.
I have a contribution also to make, that many of the companions of the Prophet ﷺ were rich, were very rich, extremely rich, and they worked toward serving humanity and others because of this richness.
Exactly.
And today, as Muslims, one of the pillars of Islam is zakah, and you can never achieve paying zakah if you're not rich, if you don't have that access money.
Exactly.
So Islam is encouraging you to be rich, to strive, but the intention, what is the intention behind being rich? And the Prophet ﷺ has a very, very important teaching for us to understand. He says, اعمل لدنياك كأنك ستعيش أبدا واعمل لآخرتك كأنك ستموت غدا. Work for this life as if you're going to live forever, and work for the hereafter as if you're going to die tomorrow. So if you have this balance in your mind that tomorrow I'm going to pass away, how are you going to react? If you have all this money, what are you going to do if you know that tomorrow you're going to die? So you're going to be charitable, you're going to do projects, you're going to serve others. Yeah, so there's always a balance between things. We don't say that you have to live in poverty and live in isolation and just worship Allah and hate money and don't be rich. And no, that is not what we're propagating. And we're sorry if this is the message that went across, that we are against wealth and against being happy.
Actually, we did touch upon this a couple of times in the beginning of the show, where we mentioned that there should be a balance. And that's kind of the central theme, but I'm glad he mentioned that, and we tried to clarify. You see, there's a saying that says this dunya is given to someone with luck, and hereafter with hard work. Sadly, we work it the other way around. Like you mentioned that we say, I'm responsible for the risk, okay? And everything else, I don't care about. Like you said, I got to make a home for my kids, and I got to have so much for their investment and for their college funds. You can plan. There's nothing wrong with it.
There's nothing wrong with that.
But don't turn it into a craziness.
Obsession.
Don't turn it where it starts to hurt your health, your spiritual health, and it gets you unfocused. You
know what happens now, Muhammad? We become very, very busy for this aim of providing for our children from the university. So we spend long hours out of our homes working so hard to provide for them, and we forget and we neglect their needs, their emotional needs, to be with them, to have that quality time with them. And then once they are grown-ups and they are ready for university, we have provided them with that money. They don't have that attachment with us. And then we wonder why our kids are rebellious, why they don't love us, and we have worked so hard our entire life to provide for their university and their savings and this and that. But that's not what they needed. They needed more than that. They needed your time. Attention. And when the time passes by, then it's over. You can't turn back.
See, Hatim, I must say, kids are very smart, thanks to Fitra or whatever. And think about it. Your time is more precious than your money.
Yes.
Rich, poor, everybody has been given only 24 hours in a day. Okay? Money can go and come back. Time will not come back. So I think they value the right thing. It's up to us whether we give them the right thing or not.
There is a very, very, very inspiring story of a young boy who went to his dad, who was a businessman, and he asked, Dad, can I ask you a question? He said, yes, go ahead. He said, Dad, I know you're a very successful businessman. What is your rate per hour? And the dad said, this is a very strange question. Why do you ask? He said, no, I just wanted to know. He said, around 50 riyals per hour. And the boy took out 50 riyals from his pocket and gave to his dad. And he said, what are you doing? And he said, I'm paying to get 1 hour of your time.
That's tragic. That's really tragic.
And one day this is going to happen to us with our kids.
Because and then it'll be too late.
It'll be too late. Be too late. I think, Muhammad, we're running out of time and we still have 3 more points to cover.
Sure.
So if you allow me, the next one is that wasting resources that are meant for the next generation.
Right. You see, we did a program a couple of days back about going green.
Yes.
And we kind of sort of nailed it, that us being selfish and us being over-consuming results in overproduction of junk and trash.
Yes.
And depleting of resources on an abnormal rate. So the same formula would apply over here. And like I mentioned, there are, you're saying about wasting resources for next generation. Well, there are some people who are not having next generation. And this used to be...
Because of us.
Yeah.
Because of our greed.
Yeah, greed and selfishness. And this used to be a phenomena in the West where they were, as an example, first getting married late. And then they were not getting married. And then they were just having out-of-marriage relationships. And then, they just stop having children. And in some countries, they give you extra tax breaks and extra incentives just for you to have kids.
Yes.
And if you read their own studies, most of those people, they're saying in X number of years, we will become a minority in our own countries. Okay, so when you mess with nature, the action might be in front of you. Reaction will happen maybe a generation later. Now, sadly, some of the Muslims are using the same formula. Okay, they're not having kids. We are like, oh, well, college is so expensive. And, college is not fard. Look at our grandparents. They never went to any university
and
or
they raised
college.
us in the best way.
They raised us in the best way. I mean, and they had better morals and better values and better discipline in their life.
And this is not believing in Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Thinking that if I can't save now for college, then He will never go to college.
But you never know.
God. Yeah, Allah is the one who provides.
Yeah, and it says here, again in Surah Baqarah, which is a very long surah, and it took about like 10 years to be revealed completely. If you look at Ayah 268, it says, Shaitan threatens you with poverty and orders you to commit fahsha, which is evil deeds like illegal sexual intercourse and sins and all that. Whereas Allah promises you forgiveness from Himself and bounty. Not only forgiveness, and bounty. And Allah is self-sufficient for His creatures' needs. Or He is all-knower. Means He's enough. You should plan and execute, but the result is in His hand. He was feeding your grandfather and your father. That's why you're here. So what makes you think that he will not feed your children? I mean, this is very short-sightedness. So the thing is, we need to curtail and fix our lifestyles, taking you back to the idea of wants versus needs, so we have enough resources for the next generation. It's not that hard.
Okay, Muhammad, now it is very, very important that we are at the end of the show to point out who is to be blamed, who is benefiting out of this big illusion that we are living today, which is called materialism.
Well, first of all, I'll try to address both sides of the coin. The man in the mirror is the one to be blamed. Okay?
Yes.
Second thing is who's tempting us and who's trying to make us slip. Okay? You will say devil, but I'll take it one step ahead. It's the culture of consumerism. And if you look at the stakeholders, corporates are one of the biggest reasons with their huge advertising budgets. And they get to our kids very young from the Cartoon Network programs, pumping in their advertisements. And they spend massive amounts on branding, on advertisement, on marketing, on events, okay, to a point where they define our culture and they think for us. And it's all about consuming. So they need to tone down. I don't know if that's going to happen or not, but,
Okay, we have a call. Salaam alaikum.
Wa alaikum salam rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
How are you, brother? How are you, brother?
Good, brother, by the grace of Allah Ta'ala.
Alhamdulillah. Brother.
To hear, just I was hearing for a few minutes only.
Yes.
Not earlier. It is a good subject as about you're talking about number of children.
Jazakallah.
Again, just I want to inform you earlier about how we are our grandparents and my mother and their mother. The food what they used to take, it is not adulterated food. It was pure, without any they'll cultivate the food without putting any kind of urea.
Yes.
Today they are making fast growth, two times, 3 times in a year. They'll put so much chemicals so that the food will become so weak, and the quality of the food is there, but the quality and strength is not so much what it was there earlier days. Like how our grandfathers were strong enough, but we are not there today in that category health-wise.
Yes.
So what is happening? Even the woman who is bearing the children, she's not so much strength to bear after more than 2 or 3. She'll become so weak. She's not. If doctors might advise say that don't go for more than 2 or 3. You might lose your life partner.
Yes.
That is one of the reasons that people might not be going for the next generation.
Thank you very much
for
brother.
Your call.
Thank you.
Yeah, brother mentioned a good point. Because of the adulterated food, we're losing the nutritional value. However, most of the people that we talk to, the reason they cite is financial. It's not the physical health. There's a lot of food around. Granted, it's not as good as our parents' time or our grandparents' time, but it's the distribution of food. It's the hoarding of food. It's the control of corporates over food, the monopoly that's driving the prices up and resulting in famine. Food is not in shortage anywhere in the world. And like you mentioned, in terms of the people who are responsible for this, so it's a 1-2 punch. We are responsible for falling in the trap, and they are responsible for setting the trap, especially going after young kids. I mean, I see my kids, if they watch a cartoon somewhere and during the break there's advertisement, before it finishes, my son or daughter will say, I want that. Without thinking, without looking, I want that.
Yeah.
They relate to them. And this is a multi-billion-dollar industry. So we need to counter it at some level. And how we can cure ourselves, my request to all the listeners, first myself and then to them, try to find barakah in your life, which is blessing. What we say, do more with less.
Yes.
Second thing, please work towards having contentment or qana.
Yes.
Make dua in this month for both of them. And for my brothers and sisters who are in debt, please, for the love of God, get out of debt as soon as you can. Change your lifestyle. It will, trust me, I am saying this in a very responsible way. If you continue on this lifestyle, you will have a miserable life here, and we have already shared what's waiting for you in the hereafter. So, because we care, whatever we like best for ourselves, we are sharing for you. And if we can address this issue of riba, a lot of other things will fall in their places. Yes. Life will become better and the hereafter.
And one more thing I just wanted to mention about the interest or the riba, it's addictive.
Yeah.
once you get into it, you can't get out.
Yeah.
You will always top up. You'll always ask for more.
Both parties will not get out. In order to pay your loan, you will take another loan. And this is not just happening on an individual level. This is happening on country levels.
Yes.
Okay. And the other thing is the one who's giving you loan, they will not stop. The other day I had a call from a company and they said, we have Ramadan special. Why don't you buy a car? And I said, well, alhamdulillah, I have a car. I have a 2009 vehicle, which is serving me very well. And the sister, she said, oh, it's so old. Why don't you come to our showroom? We'll give you a new one. Okay. So they're like invading our privacy. They're getting into our houses and into our minds and forcing us and making us think, the pain and pleasure principle, that if I don't have the latest car, I have something wrong with me. My neighbors will think less of me. My colleagues will not talk to me. I mean, think about it. We need not to act like children.
And most of the time, even our colleagues will talk to us and tell us, why don't you have a house?
Yeah.
Yeah. Why don't you have a house? What's wrong with you? Oh, this is the security of your kids. Well, the security of my kids with Allah.
Exactly.
Not with the house.
Exactly. And I would like to leave everybody with few points for you, golden pearls of wisdom. You want to cure yourself, look at those who are below you. Don't look at the ones who are above you. For this will not make the favors conferred on you by Allah. So it's significant in your eyes. What that means is, if you always look at the people who are richer than you, you will by default, and try this experiment on yourself, you will not be thankful to Allah. Look at the people who have been blessed with less than you, and you will appreciate every single thing that Allah has given you.
Just to clarify also, Muhammad, that we are not pushing people towards not to be ambitious. You have to be ambitious.
Oh, yeah.
You have to be successful, but in the right way.
Exactly. You see, be happy with the result, because this is what Allah has decided. I always give my friends an example. They'll say, oh, look, so-and-so doesn't have a degree and he became a manager and I'm here for so many years. And I tell him, look, this was, okay, it might not be fair, but it was decided by your creator before you were born. Are you being disrespectful to the desire of your creator by being jealous of your brother in your office? Think about it. This is serious. It's not just about a promotion or money. And look what Quran says. If you look at chapter 26, verse 88, the day whereon neither wealth nor sons will avail, but only he will prosper, the one that brings to Allah a sound heart, qalb as-salim. So guys, work on your heart. Most of the diseases I see around us, they are related to our hearts.
So I think we're running out of time for today. Would like to remind our listeners that they can listen to our previous episodes on YouTube at Life As It Is, and they can follow our Facebook page, Life As It Is. Also, you'll find our comments and some of the videos that we're sharing regarding all the topics that we're talking about. And tomorrow we have a new topic as well with Engineer Muhammad Farooq. We'll be talking about authentic religion,
inshallah.
So see you tomorrow, inshallah. From me, Hatim Al Abdilsalam, and Engineer Muhammad Farooq.
Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullah.
Never think of change. Be the change. Thank you for being a part of this amazing journey. Life as it is. Life as it is. Here on the Nation Station, Radio Sultan of Oman, 90.4 FM.
Ramadhan.